on Rumble lately. Stuff that I can't find on YouTube and whatever.
You know, Gab has been really good too. I like their motto when you go on there. It just says,
we have a little bit of an echo.
No, that was my phone because I'm watching it. That way I can see the comments.
Very cool.
Perfect. Man,
guys, welcome. This is a late for us, 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. I'm going to fix my chair here. Hold on, because I'm on the rug. This is stuff that happens when we go live.
technical difficulties. Yeah. Sorry.
His chair was perfectly fine before we went.
It was. Everything goes to shit when you go live. But this is going to be a good episode, if you want to call it that. This is more of us using our platform to get some real important quick word out to our followers and anybody that wants to watch. And guarantee there's people on here that don't agree with us, that just want to see what we have to say so they can write about it, how crazy we are. But we welcome them too. We have
that's right.
John, we have Lani, we have Woody, myself, and a very special guest today. You guys okay over there?
No, it was fine. I was just getting an echo off of Woody's phone now.
Screw up my introduction. Scott Walker.
Scott Frank.
Frank. Where do I get Walker from?
Scott Frank Walker. No, it's just Scott
Frank.
It's Scott Frank?
Yep.
I've been saying Scott Walker this whole time. You haven't said anything.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Scott Frank. It's funny because we were talking about this the other day, how we have Facebook friends, you know them, and not that that's your name on Facebook, but you start knowing people by their names, and a lot of people don't use their real names on there.
Well, let's be frank.
You know? So, right. And there's people on there who I know them as something, but that's not the real name.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways, Scott Frank. Scott's a respiratory therapist at Mercy, and he has a story to tell because this is, geez.
Well,
we're in a mess.
we are in a mess. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I thought your last name was Walker.
Thanks for coming out, Scott.
I swear to you, I think I even said to Becca today, hey, Scott Walker, and she didn't correct me. I'm like, where'd I get Walker from? Must have another Scott Walker on social media. Well, not I embarrassed myself there.
Self-humility is good.
We have a lot to talk about, We've been really hammering on this medical tyranny stuff because it's like, dude, holy smokes. Like, if this isn't your line, we keep saying this, if that's not the line, then I don't know what is. We're starting to mess with our bodies, our children, our livelihoods. Now you're getting into some really dark territory that we never thought would happen. And people a year and a half ago said, oh, they're never going to do that. And, you're crazy, man. They're not going to go full vaccine passports. They're not going to make you do that to keep your job. No. They call us conspiracy theorists, as they always do. Then today, they're like, dude, that's the norm. Now you're crazy if you don't have a vaccine passport.
The frustrating thing is they keep talking about the science, and what Scott was talking about earlier about now that even the pharmaceutical companies are coming out saying, hey, watch out. This isn't, what was it?
Moderna, they're saying their vaccine isn't as effective as they thought.
Did you post that earlier? Who posted something about that?
I think Vicky did.
Okay. Yeah. She posted something about that now they're coming after them because they're not meeting the requirements or something like that. Is that what it is?
No, another booster. Moderna is working on that booster. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you don't have an immune system, you have to constantly take something to compensate for that, whether it kills you or not, or creates all these adverse reactions, so.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you do when you don't have an immune system? You don't have T cells and, think immune system and stuff like that,
Yeah, God gave us an immune system for a reason.
So what have you seen, in your job, in your line of work at the hospital? What was your experience, and now what is your future look like,
So what I've experienced is I was called out for not testing because I'm not getting vaccinated. I don't believe in the vaccine.
Why not?
I have a very strong belief against it. The research isn't. We haven't been studying it long enough. It's been pushed through, and I have an immune system. I got COVID myself back in June of last year. I know that I have antibodies, and I know that if you have an immune system, that you don't necessarily need to get a vaccine, and especially something that we don't have enough studies on it yet, and there's too many adverse reactions, and we're seeing, in other countries, look at Israel. they're one of the most vaccinated countries in the world, and look at them, they're spiking. I mean, they have a ton of cases.
And now they're saying it's because they don't have the boosters. And they're making excuses to support whatever data doesn't exist.
Aren't they wanting their fourth booster now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So they wanted you to.
So they wanted me to test, and I said, I'm not going to test. Sorry. So they removed me from the schedule indefinitely. And so then I myself was proactive, and I reached out to the vice president, COO at Mercy, and I said, I want to have a conversation. I've been removed from the schedule, and he said, all right. Well,
did they give you a heads up they were going to remove you, or was it just you showed up one day?
They just removed me. We had a conversation. It was a meeting, and they just removed me. Took me off schedule, unpaid.
Was that Robert Folden, or?
That was my director of respiratory care. Her name's Heather. And she is, from what I'm hearing in the hospital, she is one of the only directors or managers that's actually going around and trying to enforce this testing with employees. Because a lot of the other managers, they're like, I'm not going to be the testing police. That's not my job. If you want to test, test. If you don't want to test,
Not only that, but it seems like they're so short-handed right now.
Yeah, and we are. They're claiming that we're in a crisis situation with staffing. Well, we've been short-staffed for years. I mean, and more so the last probably 2 years, but it's never been addressed. We just continue to work short-staffed even when the hospital's not full. So, and they'll argue it. They'll say, "Oh, we're never short-staffed," but if you look at the numbers, if you pull the numbers, we're short-staffed. So, I was removed from the schedule. 2 days later, I met with Robert Folden and a person in HR and a union rep, and had a conversation. And he was just very smug about the whole conversation, and basically stated, hey, you got 4 options here. One of them's the Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson, or you test. He's like, those are your 4 options.
Well, I'm not doing either.
And I said, I'm not doing those.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Dustin, I know we're live. Is there any way that we can go up on the Red, White, and Blueprint Facebook page as well? Not the podcast. I have people that are texting me saying they can't find a link to it. And it's probably because they're going to the... Okay. That's okay. Maybe we'll make a post on... or put a link on that one. Again, technical difficulties. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure that people that want to see this are able to watch it and listen to.
We're all live. We're going to work through this,
Yeah.
Hey, so I just want to.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sounds like it's problems fixed. I was in the hospital, and this is like way pre-COVID, and I was all busted up, man. That's when I go to the hospital when I got broken bones, and they got to put me back together. But and they came and they shoved this thing up my nose, to test me
to
for
swab
staph.
you? Oh, yeah.
And it was just horrible. They shoved it way up there, man. And I was just like, And then the next day they came back and they were like, we're going to test you for staph again. And I was like, no. And they're like, he's like, okay. And he just left. And I was like, dang, I got some freedom here. I was like, I could actually say no. And the guy that came, the nurse that came to test me, he didn't want to do it anyways. And as soon as I told him no, he just ran away and said, okay, I'm going to tell my supervisor you said no. And I was like, okay, fine. I was like, man, I got some power now. But the reality is I just came up with a term. I was like, man, I felt like I got nose raped. I know that sounds crazy, but dude, it was so bad that he came back the next day and I was just like, hell no. I didn't want to be a dick to the people that were helping me, because they were, bro. I had broken legs, a broken back, all kinds of stuff going on. And I would not let them shove another thing up my nose, because it was absolutely horrendous.
You'd be terrible at having a Coke habit.
But it's about choice. You had a choice, and we always encourage our patients, we give them a choice, and they can say no. And sometimes there's other options. And so, the fact that they're not giving employees really a choice. They say they're giving you a choice, and he gave me those 4 choices, but that, to me, that's not a choice.
But there's really no logistical support to be able to do that, right? Like
you get fired.
Logistically, how are you going to test everybody twice a week have them get their test results back in time to get them on a schedule. I mean, we know how fluid the schedule is at the hospital, you know,
Yeah.
where people are filling in for people and there's people that get sick, whatever, you know. So
Well, I mean, he said we don't even get a report of the people testing. He's like, we're a week into this, week and a half into this, and we haven't got a report yet. We're supposed to get a report of everybody that's tested.
now, Scott, he said something to you. He said, we're prepared to lose how many people?
He said we're prepared to lose 500 people.
500 people in the
500 people.
hospital.
Well, how many people are in total? So,
I think over 1,200.
well, that's like 60%. Or I'm sorry, that's 40%.
Yeah,
They can't.
I don't
they can't
believe
do
that that's an
It's not
accurate
viable.
statement. You can't run a business.
Well, and there's certain
half-staffed.
people in the hospital, those cardiac perfusionists that aren't. I mean, you're literally without a cardio. You can't have a heart attack. You can't go get heart surgery without those guys.
Yeah.
Or the
And now they're
anesthesiologist.
going to make it, and I imagine they already have, right? Where you can't go into surgery unless you have a shot.
Well, that there's talk of that definitely. I myself, I just had surgery on Tuesday. I didn't get swabbed. They didn't swab me. They didn't ask if I was vaccinated.
I'm afraid to get put to sleep because that's when they're going to put it in you. I was like, holy smoke.
But it's true. It's true. So when you go into the hospital and you are intubated and you're sedated, or you go into surgery, they will swab you while you're asleep.
Hey, so answer me this: the test that they wanted you to take. Do you know if it was the PCR test
It's
or?
it's a PCR test, and it was a self-administered test. And so a lot of people say, "Oh, it's no big deal. I'm just going to do it." Well, it is a big deal, you know, because you're giving up your freedoms. It's just the same thing. Like people said, "Oh, just wear a
Thanks
mask."
for saying that.
It's just a mask. Just wear it. You know.
So when the creator of the PCR test, the FDA and the CDC have all officially said this is not conspiracy, that the PCR test is not accurate, and
Right.
The inventor of it says it wasn't even created to test for a virus. You know, so I'm just saying, like, how are we in a world where we still run on statistics that were created mostly off of a PCR test? I know there's some other tests out there, but I'm saying the main test used has been a PCR test. And here we are, we're still saying you got to take this PCR test that's known amongst all scientists that have half a brain to be bunk, and including the inventor, the FDA, the CDC. I mean, what is going on? And you still got to take a PCR test that was created not even to test for what we're testing for.
Yeah, it's not accurate at all. So, and that same test, it's a self-administered test that they're telling employees to do twice a week. They're not getting the results back for at least 10 days. So you're working, you know. And so if you're positive, you're still working. But if you get exposed at work and you've done your 2 tests that week, they're saying, employee health is saying, that test is not valid. You have to have another test done. So if the test isn't valid, why are you making your employees do it?
And why are different departments having different protocols? That's what
I think it's up to the individual managers.
It's up to individual managers,
Right.
and some
And how
managers
they're
are really
enforcing that.
really hard line, and they want everybody to follow.
What's the overall mood in the hospital? I mean, as far as
The overall mood is people are sick of it. People are really sick of it. I mean, there's people that are going to go along with it, and you know, it's people's livelihood. They're really, you know, messing with people's livelihood.
well, sure they are. And my wife, who, you know, works at the hospital, and she's prepared to lose her job.
Yeah.
Over this, you know, and who knows? They might listen to this and fire her tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
Same with me.
we're prepared for that. Listen,
I am prepared.
This brings us to this point, right, of what we were talking about earlier, how people can say what they say. They can theoretically, you know, say, hey, yeah, you know, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. There's no way I'm ever doing that. But when it comes down to it and your livelihood's on the line and all of a sudden there's this very real possibility that you won't be able to pay your mortgage, feed your kids, whatever, you start thinking twice and 3 times and more about these kinds of decisions, you know, and I've seen a lot of people succumb under that pressure.
Oh, they're banking on that fear. They are.
Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in a position, and this is really just a lesson. I know Lani will have a lot to say about this, you know, because it's right up his alley. There needs to be a paradigm shift in how we live our lives, you know, and setting ourselves up mentally, you know, based on our own values, so that we're not ever in a position like this. I don't want to ever be in a position where I'm bent over a barrel by the government, a boss, somebody who's going to tell me you have to do this, even if it goes against everything you believe in your heart and soul, or this is going to happen. You know, we should never, ever, ever live our lives that way. If you're finding yourself living your life in such a manner where you are controlled by somebody, and listen, we all, at some point, even if you own your own business, you work for your customers, you work for somebody. Okay, so there's going to be somebody who's going to suggest that you do certain things, and I understand it. That's just the way life works, right? It's very cavalier to say, I don't listen to anybody. No, we all listen to someone. You know, if you're married, you're definitely listening to somebody. but if you're putting yourself in a position, if you're setting up your life to where you're going to get backed into a corner and you have no way out but to succumb to whatever mandate they're making you follow, whatever restriction they're placing upon you, then you have to reevaluate your life. And I hate to say that, I'm sorry, you know, but, and then, oh, well, I got 24 years. And well, you know what? Are you going to die tomorrow? No, you're going to live another 20, 30 years. How do you want to live the rest of your life?
There's things worse than dying, you know, and going along with something you don't believe in.
I think we got a caller.
For a long time.
Yeah. I don't want to talk to that guy.
Who's Jeremy?
Pastor, are you drunk, Jeremy? Are you drunk dialing us?
I bet he has sweats on right now, though.
He does.
Yeah. Did we lose you? I was just kidding.
I don't hear
He
him.
hung up on you. He's pretty pissed.
He'll call back.
Well, one thing too, when we were talking about that comes to mind is wanting to stay, I don't know, not misdirected, because now the conversation, listen to what we just had, the conversation, the subject line. And not that it's not pertinent, because they're using it to mess with people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
But really, we're still talking about who cares? Israel's spiking. Shasta County spiking.
Yeah.
So is it that lethal? We're still not seeing the mortality rates in healthy populations that are now being forced to take the shot. So it's a misdirection and really a distraction from, we're still back at the point of 99.9 whatever survival rate, especially for someone like yourself, if you don't have comorbidities and all these other things. So I hate that the fact, it bugs me. You know, it's like they've gotten us so far off track because now we're chasing vaccine or not, when that's still not even, it shouldn't even be an issue.
You're right.
And so,
People, I mean, what really irritates me is hospitals, healthcare in general. Why have they not taken a stance to a healthy lifestyle? Hospitals, I mean, they should be promoting that.
oh, don't get me going.
Oh, no, trust me, I heard
about exercise,
eating right, you know.
Vitamins, minerals.
And
so what can you do aside from, you know, what we've always been told, right? You exercise, you eat right, you drink lots of water, you stay hydrated, all those things. If you get COVID, if right now you're not feeling good, maybe you have a sore throat, you start to feel like it's coming on, body aches, what should my course of action be?
hydrate, definitely hydrate. There's therapy regimens out there that include zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin D3.
With the K2?
Now you have to have a catalyst, right, John, for the zinc?
Yeah. So you want to take like a
green tea extract.
Well, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, they're all delivery agents for zinc. You can take, green tea extract is another one.
Where do I get these things? A lot of these things get thrown around. And so I'm sick. I'm like, I'm dying. Okay, I got to go get this stuff. Where am I going to find ivermectin besides a feed store?
There is prescribed ivermectin from doctors for humans. I guess it goes I said 96 on the last podcast. It was FDA approved in 96, but I guess it goes all the way back to 88. Approved for human use, so it goes back.
So Destiny says zinc with quercetin.
Quinine is the precursor to hydroxychloroquine.
Quinine you can get on tonic water.
Yes,
absolutely.
Tonic water weight. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's probably
I think you'd have to drink a ton of it, though, right?
No, it's only like 4 ounces a day.
Yeah,
really.
It's just a small little.
It really comes down to most people are deficient in D. And you want to take the D3 and you want to have the K2 with that to help with the uptake of the D. And as far as the zinc goes, you really need, something to help deliver into your cells, which I take a zinc that has indium in it that helps with the uptake. And then I take quercetin actually and a green tea extract to help uptake. But there's probably like 1,000 different, 100 to 1,000 different ways to.
Now, is it something we should be scared of? I mean, should we walk around in fear? If you haven't had COVID yet, I mean, should you really be frightened?
No.
My number one fear is somebody running over one of my kids in my driveway.
Wow.
In life, I'm just being real. I
know.
mean, like
you're never not real.
People
But
come
that's
in.
like,
I lock my gate all the time, and I'm like, when people come to my house, I unlock the gate. You've been there, you know.
No, I know.
What he knows. He's been to my place. If you come to my
I had
house,
to climb his gate to get in there.
I personally come and I unlock the gate, and I'm watching everything because I mean, I don't want a dog to get run over or a chicken run over, but one of my kids, it would be the end of the freaking world, you know. And that's my biggest fear in life right now. Definitely not COVID, because me and all my family.
My biggest fear right now is that they're going to use something like COVID, which they already have, to implement some control measures.
No, they have.
You know, and that's my biggest fear is to wake up in a communist country. You know, and I know I sound like a broken record, and the people that are watching this that don't like what we're saying are going to say, "Oh, there goes Carl's talking about communism again." You know, let me tell you guys, we're there.
We're there.
It's at our door. You know, when I'm having to have a conversation about, man, my wife's gonna lose her job because she won't put something into her body.
Yeah.
You know, if I would have told you that 10 years ago, you would have said, "Fuck, that's crazy. That's not happening. Yeah, that's some Chinese bullshit." You know,
You always have. We've always had
it's not
choice.
here.
We've
Yeah.
always had choice.
Khrushchev told Dwight Eisenhower, "Your great grandkids will be ruled by communism in America."
And they've embraced it, you know, and this is the issue, right? It's not like we fought against it, man. We had a war, we had a kinetic battle over it where, listen, we lost. No, these people are welcoming it with open arms. Not only are they doing that, but they're criticizing and degrading us for our beliefs, for just wanting to be free. We're not asking for shit. I'm not asking for a fucking thing. I'm like, I want to be able to just wake up in the morning, do the things I need to do to feed my family, see the people I need to see, you know, that can make my life better. Hopefully I'll make their life better. And this is the way that we get along in America. You know, we should never have to worry about, shoot, am I going to survive the day without, you know, restriction, without mandate?
COVID was just a trigger, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you look back at like ideological subversion got started in the 60s, it was a communist program, you know. I mean, this has all been coming down the pike. It was just they were waiting for their trigger.
Yeah, everybody says, man, it happened really fast. And I think the effects became apparent really quickly in the last 18 months. But this didn't happen overnight.
We
It didn't happen.
No.
Yeah, this has been decades. They've been very patient.
College, they've been
rolling
indoctrinating.
this out. You know, did we have a call, Dustin?
Are we still talking quinine?
We're talking quinine, Jeremy. What's happening?
You having tonic?
Quinine,
Gin and tonic,
quercetin,
G&Ts.
Gin tonic, vodka
green
tonic.
tea extract, hydroxychloroquine.
So I just, you know, I've been hung up on this whole antibody issue for a few weeks now, and I'm racking my brain, and especially because there's a professor, I believe he's out of Georgetown University. It's a George something university, but it's a big university on the East Coast, and he was told that he has to get the vaccine or they were going to fire him. And he's a professor, I believe he's a professor of science or something like that. He might even be a professor of immunology. You know, it's like he knew what he was talking about, and he basically said, hey, I had COVID a year ago. Here's my antibody test. My numbers are higher than the vaccine.
Right.
I'm not getting this vaccine. This makes no sense. And they said, nope, I'm sorry, sir, you got to get the vaccine. So he took him to court, and he won in court, and he's a professor there today.
That should set precedents, right?
Yeah, I did see that actually. Yeah.
I think I have that
And
article.
this case has been. I mean, even on CNN, they've discussed it. Even the left media is saying, hey, like, shit. You know, they're asking Fauci, like, what do you think about this, Dr. Fauci? And he's like, I don't know. But you know, even, you know, my wife, she just went in, she got her antibody test, and it's through the roof. The numbers are through the roof, and we both had COVID back in November. I got my antibody test about a week ago. Numbers are through the roof. So at this point, I'm just going, you know, and I work for myself, so I'm not in jeopardy of losing my job. I'm definitely not going to go get a vaccine that I don't need because I already have antibodies, that I have natural immunity that completely, not only am I not contagious and I can't pass it on, but I'm not going to get sick. So I guess that's my big thing. I want to know your thoughts on that. I would love to know why that's not a discussion at all in the media.
Well, I'll tell you why it's not. It's because it doesn't fit into their plan.
Yeah, it doesn't,
You know?
it doesn't make them any money either.
Yeah. For you to
Inversion of
have
reality.
Natural immunity is not a what do you call it? A profit building business, I guess. You know, I can't monetize that. You know, so.
No.
But every serious scientist will tell you that antibodies and a good immune system work better than the vaccine.
Well, that's what the vaccine is trying to accomplish.
Right.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it's trying to accomplish in a fancy workaround from normal traditional vaccines.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the same
So
outcome, and
Yeah.
the natural is showing way
I'm
higher.
looking at some of the comments on here. Lisa, hey Jeremy, what number do you call to call into the studio here?
530-255-8063. And I
255-8063.
255-8063, and I have one more quick question
Yep.
for Scott, if I can.
Yeah.
So, Scott, I'm brainstorming because I'm going through some of this, not myself personally, but people that are close to me that I care about that are going to lose their job.
Yeah.
And I thought about this for you. You know, you went into the VP, and he's like, you got 4 choices. You get tested, or you take one of the 3 vaccines. And my thought is, what if the message was for people like you and people like that are close to me that I'm talking to right now, is there any validity to doing the same thing this professor at this Georgetown University did, bringing your antibody test? I don't even think we have to do that, but I'm saying, is there something in a lawsuit that we can actually bring that paperwork forward just to say, hey, look, here are my antibody levels. If you fire me, we're going to have a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And I walked into that meeting and had my antibodies in hand, and I asked him if he would like to see them and if that was an option. He told me flat out no.
Yeah.
So
And that's a problem. And then I think he also told you that it is mine and Woody's fault that people aren't vaccinating.
he made a comment, yes, that
Oh, my word.
the comment was he was on a corporate meeting. They asked how come there was so much vaccine hesitancy in our counties, the 2 counties up here, and he said, well, if you ever seen the red, white, and blueprint, you might want to look at that. That's why.
I think he opened himself up to a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'll take that as a compliment because
Yeah.
I want people to hesitate.
Yeah,
absolutely. I want people to
especially
think.
all those people that are basically unaffected, which
Yeah.
you're talking anyone without comorbidities and 50 and below.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That whole population, there's no need.
There's no need.
So if I am a person right now who's thinking about getting the vaccine, and I'm thinking about this because I'm literally faced with the option of getting it or losing my job, losing my livelihood. What should I do? It's easy for us, right? I mean, I'm a self-made guy. I don't have a boss that I answer to. If my wife loses her job, we'll be just fine. We will figure it out. I'm not going to say we'll be unaffected, right? But, you know, we'll be okay. So it's easy for somebody like me to tell somebody like you, somebody out there, you know, hey, you need to stand up and not get the shot, right? But what can they actually do where we can all feel good about their decisions? So they're not coming to me in 3 months and say, hey, you know what? I can't pay my bills because I listen to you. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, where are we at on this thing? Can we create a community? You ever hear that weird echo?
It's some feedback from the phone line.
Is it? Okay.
Hey, I'll jump off, guys. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you,
Jeremy.
Thank you, man.
Love you, brother.
They're still going to be better off. I mean, you got to live the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And for me, even if I lost a job over it, you know, if you're a talented enough person to be a respiratory therapist or a nurse at a hospital, you're gonna find
be fine.
You're gonna be fine.
You'll find something.
And at this point, I think we have to go in a direction where we are creating communities that aren't dependent on these big corporations, on
Yes.
these big systems, you know, where we can have our own local systems, you know, local systems of medicine, local systems of, you know, governance, if you will, right? Where we really can govern ourselves without the need for this overreaching bureaucratic system.
Yeah.
And that's all we're trying to get to here. You know, we're not trying to, you know, overthrow the government by force, you know, although I'm sure someday, you know, maybe we'll have to get there. And I hate to say, I always have to say that because I don't want people to think, oh, Carlos is getting soft or he's changing his mind about his beliefs. No, listen, you know, I hope we never have to, But at the rate that we're going, I don't see another way out of this.
But what he said about the red, white, and blueprint, see, that's exactly what our goal was, right?
Sure.
Was to
Absolutely.
transform,
Make people
our
think.
local area.
and the local culture,
Yeah.
and again, we want people to feel very good about the decisions that they make.
Right.
Okay. I really do. I want people to feel happy, feel at peace with the decisions that they have to make,
Yeah.
So if I'm swaying you in a certain direction, it's because that's been my experience, because I've been able to maximize my happiness in my life by making decisions that are very irreverent to government, very defiant to government, because I see where that leads. I go to bed at night and I sleep well because I know that I made the right decision by defying, by not complying, and I want you to feel the same way, whether you comply or not comply. If you comply, I want you to feel good about that decision. I don't agree with you. I wish people wouldn't comply because it makes life really difficult for the rest of us that are trying to stand up, but that's your life. That's a choice that you have, and at the end of the day, it comes with a choice, and that's all we're asking for, is to maintain that sacred, opportunity to choose what we want to do.
Choice, exactly. Yeah. Should always have that freedom to choose.
Let's go back to the callers. We have a gal, Lisa Dufour. It says, we are not there in terms of being a communist country, ! So she feels that we're not communist yet. I'd love to hear from people like this. Listen, I don't expect everybody to agree with us. This is a great platform to debate.
We support freedom of speech.
Conversation.
Freedom of speech,
So
yeah.
I mean,
call in.
the
What's
First
the phone
Amendment-
number? Nobody knows the phone. How are people going to call in? We don't even have a phone.
255-8036.
That's it. 255-8036. 530-255-8036. Call in. We'd love to talk to you. If you have a question, listen, you don't have to call in and be a fan. You can call in and have a different opinion than us, and we'd love to hear it. We'd love to talk about it.
And we've never said we're a communist country yet. But we're just
I think we're there.
Carlos thinks we're there.
we're on our way.
we're
And you know what? When it really became apparent that we had maybe passed even socialism was when the government took over our healthcare system. Right. That was. Reagan warned you against that in the 60s, but we definitely have Marxists at the top of our government right now. People that, and not necessarily Joe, because he doesn't even know
Where
what
he
fuzzy
is right
pants
now.
he has on right now.
Yeah,
but
sure.
there's people that are guiding Joe that are Marxists for sure.
And they might not even identify it. Yeah, but some do, but some don't even know they are.
Right.
It's just that those beliefs have become so mainstream over time that they call, I'm not a socialist, no way I'm a socialist.
Yeah.
It's like the person that tells you, I'm not an atheist, I just don't believe in God. I'm like, well, you're kind of an atheist. It's
Well, I've been going down. Oh, we got somebody?
Oh, Mike Morgan.
Mike Morgan,
What's up, brother?
What is up? How are you doing? John Knight, haven't talked to you in a while. How you doing, buddy?
I know, man. It's been a long time. What's going on, brother?
Okay, so you guys mentioned self-employed and all that stuff. All the people that are working for these big companies, they're kind of getting bullied into taking this shot.
Absolutely.
And some of us that are self-employed or self-made, we really don't have to do that. But my question for you guys is, what are some of the things that we should be looking out for, or some of the things that how are they going to get to us, is basically my question.
I'll tell you what I think. That's a great question, Mike, because I've thought about this, and everybody can chime in on this. I think this will definitely require more than one of us to answer. I think it's going to come down to the money. I think you're going to go and try to use your bank card somewhere. Going to say, well, you can't have a bank account. You can't have a bank card, a credit card, if you do not show proof of vaccination. And they'll get rid of the cash eventually, I think, and make you use a card. And we can kind of see where that's going to go. So,
well, the Biden administration's already saying the IRS is going to audit every person's bank account. Period. I'm just throwing it out there. They're already talking about that.
Plus insurance. They're talking about your health insurance.
Health insurance, life insurance.
What about DMV? You might have to, driver's license.
Yeah, show Show proof of
Yeah,
vaccine,
that's
driver's
kind of
license.
what I was wondering. Like, am I going to have a hard time registering my vehicle next time? You know,
Yeah.
because I don't have the shot, or am I not going to be able to pay my city of Reading power bill because I'm not vaccinated? Like, what links are they going to go to get?
Absolutely.
All of the above.
It's going to start with things like, oh, you can't fly, or you can't do this, you can't rent a motel, you can't get an Airbnb, or you can't get Uber, or you can't go and eat it at a restaurant.
What's already that way? LA County is now going there, right?
Yeah, which we're already seeing that.
As of
Yeah.
this morning, because Gavin Newsom, he survived the recall, right? Okay, which I'm not happy about, but it's only going to embolden people like us to say, you know what, this is why we fight, because there's nothing guaranteed, especially elections nowadays. And I'm not even going to get into the fraud that's just permeated that system. I don't trust an election now, but and it's, I hate to even talk about that because you start sounding like a sore loser, right? Like your guy didn't win, so you think it was rigged, right?
No, it's too obvious.
It's like the parent who complains, that their kids aren't getting the right calls in baseball, or whatever. But let's not even go there. Again, we need to be irreverent, right? To where they're irrelevant, where we don't answer to them. They have no control over us, and we're able to live our lives. But the problem comes, like Mike's saying, the problem comes, what if I can't get power to my home? What if I can't get water to my home? What if I can't get medical insurance, driver's license without vaccine? Then what do we do?
Well, I got the answer for that.
Yeah.
It's simple. Is everybody resists. Go, what's the power?
Resist.
What is the power company going to do when 60% of the people, everybody, let's just say 60% is a large, 100% of the people, but I'm going to say, what if 60% of the people says, you know what, screw you, we don't need your power. What if 60% of the people say, screw you, we're not going to take our kids to your public schools, which don't get funded unless you take them to the schools? What happens when people say, you know what, screw you, we're not going to work for you if we have to take a vaccine or get tested every freaking week, you know what I mean? And united non-compliance is how we win this thing. We vote every time we shop, and every time we act in life, every single day affects all this stuff. And if people just reject it, it's going to be gone tomorrow.
Hey, resistance works,
yeah.
and that's in this county, and it pissed me off the other day on a radio show. Kelly Frost was interviewing Mary Rickert and Donnie Chamberlain. He had both of them on there.
Yeah.
And he was saying, you know what? They were saying, you know what? Even Carlos Zapata says this is a great county. And through our leadership, look at our businesses stayed open. And it's like, no, man, it's in spite of your,
Don't take any credit for our courage.
This was because of people resisted. And that's why this county had the least.
If they would have had it their way, everybody would have been locked in their homes,
hell yeah.
and businesses would have been shuttered. You know?
So I want to deviate a little bit, but it's at the core, I think, of what we're talking about, because we're talking about just resist, everyone stand and fight, all that. So let's go a couple layers deep on that. What's the mental framework? I think that's what people need to get in each other's minds, especially those that maybe held the line in different ways a little sooner. Someone that can go to the VP and call a meeting and show up with the right resources, and what goes on in those minds, because a lot of people need that framework to be able to flip from now they're facing, I'm going to lose my job. These guys can go out and make their own money. I've never done that before in my life. So there's a lot of components and I think steps within yourself to get down that train to be able to make that decision. And there's all the cliche answers we could give, but when you get down into the meat of it, it's like that's some confidence things, that's some self-worth stuff. That, like you said, you're talented enough. We could sit here and say that for most of these people that have high-paying jobs or landed these jobs and worked and got certified and all those things. So you have the talent.
Sure.
So do you believe in yourself to be able to forgo a little bit of hard time, a little bit of discomfort,
A little bit of sacrifice.
a little bit of sacrifice? It may be more, but then to make it out the other side. Do you trust that your marriage, your kids, your family, and you will make it out the other side? Well, if you question those things, you better start working those first.
Yep.
Right now. And those are changes you can make right now, how you think. And if you're going to, I brought this thing all the way back. I was going to do a video for the gym talking about this. If you are making those decisions like on the daily, well, I'm just going to choose that because it's comfortable for me. Well, that's going to lead you down a road of being controlled because somebody's going to say, well, I'll pay you.
Well, if
and
you're
then
just
you don't
going to
have to
go,
run
if you're
it.
just going to go along with the current, you're leaving the problem for your kids, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
You're kicking a can down the street.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But if you're going to choose that comfort all the time, think about that person. What do you learn in just comfort? What if your parents never stopped taking care of you? Where would you be right now? So there's a certain part of whether you consciously or unconsciously got there by your employer, by this government, by whatever, of reliance. And you hit a point of comfort that you don't want to let go of. Well, it's time, if you're a patriot and you're an American, to step up and say, I need to start facing some of these discomforts and go, I might not have a job. I might have to pivot completely. Well, I can tell you, every single construction industry needs just a guy right now with hands and a brain, even gals that can work. So there's plenty of jobs, and it might be a tough transition, but I 100% believe you will come out stronger and better on the back end.
And
you
freer.
can't do it alone either. You
Right.
know, we need as a community
Support system.
We
Yeah.
really have to have a support system.
And those people that are changing careers and you need hire somebody, those should be the first getting priority.
like I
Holy
heard,
cow, you
I heard
stood the
Carlos.
line,
Yeah.
come over. I want you to work for me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I heard Carlos say the other day that anybody that lost their job can drink at the Palomino.
That's
for
right.
half price.
I was
Half price, not free. Half
I was
price.
just down there.
I heard a rumor that there was an organization that was going to be created that was going to get all the companies and private businesses together that are patriot
Chamber of Liberty.
Yeah, the Chamber of Liberty or whatever the name is.
I think it's an answer to the Chamber of Commerce, right? This has been an idea that's been going around for a long time in these circles, and I think that there is a group that's putting that together right now because there's been a big, it's kind of a big fuck up from the Chamber of Commerce where they've alienated a lot of companies with the decisions they've made over the last year. There's a lot of businesses that are like, I'm out.
They
I
say
don't
they're
agree with
there to
that.
protect the businesses, but
And they jumped on that Shasta Forward bullshit so fast
Yep.
too.
yeah, they donate to the people that. So what are we going to do when the state or the feds or whoever it is pass unconstitutional laws and says you're essential, you're not essential, and they're telling you got to shut down and that your business and your family is not important. You know what I mean?
Sure.
What do? We flip them the bird.
Yeah.
We say, hey, you know what? Screw you. We're all united together. And there's groups that are getting together and they're putting money into a general fund. So if anybody messes with these companies that are going to defy the tyranny coming down from whether it's the county, the state, or the freaking feds, if we had some county officials that had some balls, they would be protecting us. But guess what? They're not. So we're gonna have to take some individual responsibility. We're gonna have to band together. And when they tell us we're gonna shut down, we're all gonna have to stand together and defy it together.
That's why we're doing this recall. Can we talk about what we think's coming for a minute? Because I mean, obviously, Gavin's the governor, and we know AB 455 now will be coming. And that is that's the
Vaccine.
You can't go anywhere except the
Vaccine
gym and
passport.
church. Not the gym.
no
it's
church and a grocery store.
church and grocery store.
yep.
Is that what it is?
And then AB
No gym?
1102, I think, is that all employers have to mandate it. So literally now our only protection, our only line of defense is a strong local government board of supervisors and a sheriff. And I think we got a good one.
I think Mike Johnson is a fantastic man. He's somebody who I've respected for a long time, and I'm looking forward to meeting with the sheriff. With the new sheriff. I think he's anxious to meet with us, to hear what we have to say, and I'm excited to work with him. Because it can be argued that he holds a power of supreme position or a position of supreme power in the county, right? Where he can say, hey, no, we're not going to enforce these mandates. I'm going to protect the people that are within my jurisdiction, and we're going to put the Constitution and freedom first. Our liberties are going to come before any kind of restriction or mandate. We will not sacrifice our freedom for a little bit of security.
And if he has
that's
a strong board supporting him,
yeah.
And it just imagine for a second if he does that, the support in an area like this he'll get. I mean, it'll be legendary. He'll be
Absolutely.
someone that like Sheriff Joe or Sheriff Mack,
Yeah.
where 40 years from now, people will say, remember during the pandemic?
I think that Sheriff Mike Johnson has an opportunity right now to be a leader, not only for this county, but for the rest of the country. Really.
Absolutely.
This country is hungry right now for leaders, for strong leaders, not people that are going to maintain the status quo, not people that are going to go along with it and just kind of try to keep everybody happy. Somebody that's going to go, no, you know what, enough's enough. I'm not going to allow this. I'm going to create a sanctuary for the people within my county to be able to exercise their liberties to the highest degree. And that's what we're asking of him. It's not only what we're asking, it's really what we're demanding, right? Because listen, I'm not trying to put the sheriff in a situation where we're pitting him against any group of people within this county. We want him to seriously, represent everybody in the county. But as citizens, we have to make demands of the people that are in office within our county. And that's a demand that we have to make is like, look, just be constitutional,
That's
be
it.
constitutional. Let us live our lives in a way that we see fit if we're not hurting anybody else. And that's all a real patriot could ask for, right?
I don't think
Let's
we're
be
asking a
responsible.
lot when we ask.
Put the responsibility on us, right?
Yep.
And really, that's taking a lot on. If we're going to live that way, then we have to really hold ourselves to a high standard of responsibility and accountability, right? That's the only way this thing works. So we're not looking to be cavalier. We're not looking to be outlaws. We're really wanting order, but order that comes from following what I consider to be a sacred document, which is the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, and let's be clear. Like as these mandates come down, which they're coming, and now there'll be laws and not just mandates with these ABs coming. I'm just here to tell you right now that we will not in our local area allow OSHA or the California Department of Justice or any other agency to come here and bully our businesses. That's not going to happen.
And here's the thing, like that, the sheriff, will be that line.
He will.
Because once the paperwork and the fees, the fines, and people just refuse, then it ends up being like, the squatter on your property or an eviction, it ends up with the sheriff at your door. That's where all that paperwork ends.
Sure.
So he's the last straw. So him being able to stand on the Constitution, it's not like he's just making up his own rules. We had the rules.
But we expect everybody, let's go down the line here, right? Because yes, he's the sheriff, right? And I'm hoping that he sets the tone for his deputies to follow, but it goes down to the individual deputy. If you're going to enforce any mandate upon anybody in this county, you're an enemy of the people. Okay? Yeah. And don't give me that bullshit about I'm just doing my job. Fuck that. And I mean that, okay? If you're the kind of person, the kind of police officer, the kind of deputy,
probation
the
officer.
kind of agent that's going to be an agent for that side, an agent for the people to be able to, impose that kind of tyranny upon us, fuck you, you're an enemy of the people. I have zero respect for you. I will not teach my kids to respect you. I will not raise my kids to respect that kind of law enforcement. No, we're not going to do it, okay? And this whole back the blue, all that stuff. Listen, we want to back the blue. We want to support law enforcement, but we need law enforcement to stand with us and support us because I will draw a line in the sand, and it's not going to be good for them. If they decide to be on the other side. If you
swear an oath to the Constitution to protect against foreign and domestic,
right?
You know what I'm saying? You swore an oath, and you have to hold to your word.
And when the founders were talking about foreign and domestic, they weren't talking about the citizenry. The enemy they feared when they said domestic was the government.
Absolutely.
Right.
So
look at the times we're in.
Exactly.
There's people fearful of the shot, and the government's the one pushing it.
Yep.
So flat out. Here we
Who
are.
is the agent of enforcement? Let's talk about that. Who's going to enforce this bullshit?
OSHA.
If we all say no, okay, so OSHA can, okay, but who's really going to enforce? So I don't pay the fine to OSHA. What do? They're going to shut me down. How can they actually shut me down?
So it ended up.
Who's going to be the person? Who's going to be that poor son of a bitch who's going to show up to my doorstep and actually try to shut me down? I want to know that person's name. I want to know who that is. Because that motherfucker doesn't exist.
They won't.
He doesn't exist.
No.
So we've created this in our minds, not because we've dreamt it up, but because we've been told this. We've been conditioned to believe, to imagine this person that's going to come to my door, shut down my business, take my kids, shut my power off. If that motherfucker exists, I feel sorry for him.
No, he doesn't.
You're
exist.
not
That's
doing
like-
it to me. You might do it to some other weak motherfucker, but you're not going to do it to me.
Well, look at all the threats. That's all it was. It was threats in the end
Even-
last
even
year.
threats.
And right now they're going to say, "Oh, look, they're being violent. They're threatening." No bullshit. I'm not threatening a motherfucking thing. all we want is to be left alone. And if you're not going to be a protector, if you're not going to, hold that sacred cloak over us that says that these people are untouchable, by tyrants. Tyrants will not govern over these people. Then you are an enemy of freedom, an enemy of the Constitution, and you're an enemy of this country. So don't call me a terrorist. Don't call him a terrorist. Don't call us violent, insurrectionists. You're in the wrong. And this is where we draw the line, where we're just not going to put up with it. So if you think you're going to come into our businesses, into our neighborhoods, into our communities, and try to enforce some bullshit mandates, you better go the other way.
Yeah.
Well, they won't do that. And that proved where there was cities where the businesses said no. They tried to board them up. They had law enforcement there. What did it end up? It ended up money. They seized accounts. So that hoping that seized his ability to operate, because he just denied the fees, and then boom, they seize his accounts and clear out his bank accounts.
Heck with that.
So that takes a long time, but that's how they do it, because logistically, it's like the fear of losing all our guns.
Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen.
No, it's logistically impossible.
Yeah.
They can't go door to door and
they know
take
that.
everyone's guns. It's false.
Yeah.
They can't even check if we have legal guns.
And if you
It's not even
look what's
gonna
going on in
happen.
Australia right now. Why isn't that happening here? Why is what's going on in Australia, which is a modern westernized country, they're being drug out of their houses. They're getting
It's
the kids
simple.
taken away.
We have guns. They don't
we
have guns.
guns. Thank you. And that's it. End of story.
Yep.
We have the Second Amendment. If we didn't have that, we would be just like those poor sons of bitches getting drug out of our houses.
Oh, yeah.
And our kids taken away for not having a fucking shot.
When our president's standing there saying,
Yeah.
I'm getting impatient.
Yeah.
You're getting,
My patience is wearing thin. Impatient.
My patient.
are you working half the year to pay somebody else? No.
Our patience is wearing thin.
man.
Hey, we're
That
talking
guy
about
doesn't know what he's
Gavin
doing.
Newsom. I got a
Oh,
go
wait.
ahead and
Oh, wait.
call.
We got a call.
Put that up. We got a call. No. All right.
No
Let's
call?
go to this right here. So this is what Gavin Newsom said right after he supposedly withstanded the recall. So we said yes to science. We said yes to vaccines. We said yes to ending this pandemic. We said yes to the people's right to vote without fear of fake fraud or voter suppression. That's like trust me.
Yeah.
But anyways, we said yes to woman's fundamental constitutional right to decide for herself what she does with her body. Okay, so we're going to say mandated vaccines on one end.
It's only
but
my
on the
body,
other-
my choice. If it's
Yeah. Okay, but anyways, in the same, we said yes to diversity. We said yes to inclusion. We said yes to pluralism. We said yes to those things that we hold dear as Californians, and I would argue as Americans: economic justice, social justice, racial justice, environmental justice. Our values. Where California made so much progress, all of those things were on the ballot this evening.
guys smoking
was-
crack.
wow. That was
What
right
a
before
what
you
a
got here.
champion
Why are we even going over this right now? Sorry.
Hey, what is
to your
pluralism? What is it? I've heard.
I
the
think it's
term.
like the pronoun stuff where you have to address people in a certain.
That's why I didn't know.
Wait,
'Cause
yeah.
I still think that you're either a man or a woman. That's
Where is it?
Well, no, Woody, that would mean that they would. We said yes to science, but no.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
That only
Ask any
when it's a
biologist.
vaccine.
the reason I know, the way that I know that we're making progress and we're actually making a difference is because we have some pretty strong opposition right now from a small group of people that are very determined to see us go down.
Yep.
Right. And we received a letter in the mail. Right. And let's put this out there.
Oh yeah.
And I hope Leonard Modi
Let's see this.
is watching this because we received your letter there, Lenny. Do we have it?
That'd be number 3.
Actually, I think it's from your lawyer. And it's coming.
Did you
There
guys
it is.
see? Oh, okay, go ahead.
So
Start on page 1 there, buddy.
there
you go.
we go. So let's put it all out there, Let's see, John has your name on it. Did I get mailed to you?
Yeah.
John Knight.
John Knight, whatever.
Wrong address. It's not your house.
That's not my address, but that's my name. They spelled my name right. I'm proud
Yeah.
of them.
So this
Well, you
office
spelled
represents
it for
Leonard
him.
Modi. I'm writing to provide notice pursuant to Civil Code 48 Alpha of certain defamatory statements you recently broadcast concerning Mr. Modi and to demand that you correct those statements. It's basically a cease and desist letter. Specifically on June 11th, 2021 and August 23rd, 2021, you broadcast Red, White, and Blueprint podcast, episodes number 6 and 9. respectively. And on August 9th, 2021, you broadcast episode number 5 of the Red, White, and Blueprint docuseries entitled The Color of Money. Each of these broadcasts contained false and defamatory statements concerning Mr. Modi, for which he demands that you issue a correction as detailed below. Fuck you, Leonard Modi, for all the shit I've had written about me, for all the shit that's been written about Woody, John, the people in this room, our kids, our organization, our beliefs, our thoughts, our values. Fuck you. Shove it up your ass.
We should be suing for defamation, but you know, we got some thick
good luck.
skin.
You think he's going to sue for that? It's cost $70,000 to sue for defamation in the state of California. You think he's going to sue us? Go ahead, Leonard. Go raise some money and try to sue us, motherfucker.
We know how California works. You're going to be liable for our lawyer fees. And I think it's freaking good for you.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be in much longer anyway. We're going to recall that son of a bitch.
He's already recalled.
Yeah, fuck off.
And Patrick Jones, his statements that he made, do you guys get to see on the news today, is he took a
that was great.
polygraph and passed it with flying colors. So, I mean,
it's awesome.
What are they going to do? It's really hard to prove a defamation case anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just more threats.
Leonard still thinks he's in charge. That's what's funny. That guy thinks he rules this county. We rule this county, the people, not we as in the people here.
Yeah.
We, the people, rule this county. The people that pay the taxes, the people who are raising children here, the people that have businesses, people that go to work every fucking day. We rule the county, not you, Leonard. You've been a snake. You've been a snake in this county for a long time. You've been ahead of the snake for a long time. We're gonna cut that fucking head off.
Well, and he's been a drain. He's a drain on the county.
Yeah.
His whole life he's been paid by the government.
What do you do? And you know what? And I don't want to hear him say that. Oh, I played football at Notre Dame. That guy went to Notre Dame, didn't touch a football the whole time he was there. So I don't want to hear that anymore, Leonard. You're nobody. You're born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I think you've never gotten out of that mentality. You don't realize what it's like to actually run a business. You say you ran a business, but you ran it into the ground.
He needs to come out. He needs to come out and try and do any one of our jobs.
You know what? The bottom line is that he is enemy number one.
My trainer would choke him out.
Exactly.
Holy smokes! Yeah. So I hope that everybody watching here in Leonard's district, if you have not signed it, you got to sign this recall. We got to put it over the edge. We're already there. We just have to make sure we have enough signatures to make sure that he goes away and is never seen again.
And his little cohort Rickert too has got to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we need some big pushes on signature gathering to get some of the. We just
Clementi can stay. Let me say it right there. We can disagree. We can argue about it. Clementi stays.
Right, but
Rickard,
we just need extra signatures.
crazy old lady.
So go to recallshasta.org. Sign up. They're going to be gathering signatures tomorrow night. A big gathering on Saturday, and I mean I'm feeling really good about things. But I got to tell you, there's been some people that have just worked their fingers to the bone on this deal.
And I love them for it. Great patriots. People that have done way more work than I have.
10 times more.
And I think they're awesome. They're beautiful patriots. And for that, we have to be grateful that there's people like that.
Yeah, because like you said, how essential is it now without Newsom getting pulled?
Oh,
now
man,
we're like,
big.
oh
It's
man,
big.
this local thing, it's a good thing it's in motion. And guess what? It's not done yet. So sign.
Right.
Go be bold. Go ask your neighbors. Sign.
Exactly.
Get everybody, get out there into your small circle. Everybody does that. Everything's covered.
And this Shasta Ford thinks we're worried about what they think of us or that they're coming after us. Man, I don't want these girls running the recall coming after me. That's what I don't want.
I could care less about thought you should know Shasta or Shasta Forward.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I looked them up one time because I heard they made comments about my son, and sure enough, they did. And I said, "Oh, that's enough of that. I don't need to look at that again."
Yeah,
That's how ridiculous they are, and no credibility, just complete no morals or values. To go after somebody's kid you haven't even met and post the picture, and then one of my staff and say, "Oh, keep your husbands away from her because she's beautiful, but she's one of the most dedicated wives you'll meet."
Do you remember the time when we talked about people's children and remember that? No, we don't.
Yeah,
because we're not pieces of shit, you know, and they are left and right. What did Donnie Chamberlain write about my son the other day? He looks at me like he wants to kill me. Said that about my son.
Exactly. So that's the people behind Shasta Forward.
Yeah.
I don't blame
right
him.
there.
Well, fuck Donnie Chamberlain, and I hope she's listening to this too. I'm pissed, man. You want to start shit with our families, with our people. You think we're not going to fight? You think we're just going to sit here and let you fucking do this to us? You out of your goddamn mind.
That's what they do, though. They always do.
And then the only platform that they'll argue with you or actually take you can go after them. It's the most flimsy, weak platform to where you're just can say whatever you want, think everybody's watching, listening, get 20 of your same friends to like it, feel like you're empowered, and it's just a coward's play.
It is.
So it's just
She's watching live right now.
Oh,
she's our number one stalker.
Yeah.
I'm sure she is. She's probably sitting there
thanks for
naked in
the
the
view.
bathtub.
She loves Carlos.
I want to call her
Obsessing over me.
Auntie Donnie.
Aunt
Donnie.
Oh man.
no, but
We love you,
Back to
Auntie
the-
Donnie.
what's that, Dustin? All right. Okay.
right.
So listen, bottom line, and we can sort of go for a little bit longer because I want people to understand that we can sit here, we can talk strongly, and we can use strong language, and we can be very opinionated about what's going on in the world. But what we're really doing is calling you to action at this point and letting you know that you're not alone. You can feel alone at times, and at times it's really going to feel like there's nobody else around that feels the way you feel, or nobody else that's around that's willing to act the way that you want to act. There's more of us. Be encouraged that there's way more of us.
Oh, yeah.
We are equipped. We are prepared. We're not scared. I'm not scared of the FBI showing up at my house. I'm not scared of, the
FPPC.
cops. I'm not scared of any government agency. I'm not scared of anybody.
But here's
I'm
here's how you
scared that
find
my
your-
kids see a dad who didn't stand up. I'm scared that I'll have grandchildren that'll ask me why we didn't fight for our liberties and our rights, why we didn't uphold the Constitution, why we weren't true to who we are as Americans. That scares the shit out of me.
Right.
So I guarantee you there's people out there right now tagging the FBI, tagging the DOJ. Watch these guys. Go ahead, watch us, motherfuckers. You know what? I don't care at this point. I'm going to live my life the way that I see fit. And if that means that I end up somewhere where I feel I shouldn't be, then too bad. I'll know that I lived my life the way I was supposed to live it. Hopefully everybody else can follow along and say the same thing. And don't leave me out there by myself. Don't leave Woody out there and Lani and Scott and John. Don't leave these people that are going out there and putting their necks out there on the line. Don't leave us out there by ourselves.
And here's,
We never
here's
accomplish
the
anything
thing
that way.
too, Scott, right now, Scott, last year when we were doing our thing, a lot of people, are like, well, you guys are self-employed. So that's, but we had
because I chose that.
We had government agencies harassing us, and we didn't know for sure what was going to happen. All we knew was we weren't going to back down. Well, now it's easy to say, oh, well, you were self-employed, no big deal. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with Scott and these medical workers. He might be.
Scott, I need somebody to come work for me, man. Come on.
We all,
You know what I mean?
I just know your last name now, so we're good.
That's right.
Well, and I think here's how you don't feel alone. You start being more bold. You start making the moves, and then you start finding real people that'll back you with not just their mouths or on Facebook, but with actual, jobs, actions, letters, whatever it's going to take. They're going to show up for right now. That's what it is. Well, those are the seeds of what could come.
Right.
That we all pray doesn't come. But we have to start being a little bit more bold, stepping out a little bit more, and get uncomfortable. And then you'll start finding your people. You'll start seeing directors that will, he kind of listened to me. Good.
Yeah.
I can push through his angle a little bit. Or, I can see he's a complete snake. I shouldn't have been working for him anyway, or whatever comes out of it. But if you start making those steps, you'll find some good fruit. But if you just stay back quiet because you're afraid of, I'm not sure what, start working through those things. Talk to your friends. Start having these tough conversations to get out of your comfort zone and start pushing into the boldness. Next thing you know, you'll have a group of people around you that'll back you.
It feels
But if you just
so
stay
good to be
back,
bold.
if you stay back, it's just like you're just going to be kind of coward there. And this big machine that you can see coming from if you're thinking you're going to run out of state from it, Biden's pushing it. Mm-hmm. It's coming from the White House. So you're not going to
and there's nowhere to run. You can't go
Yeah.
anywhere that's better.
No.
If it's better, it's only better for a couple of years. Trust me, and it's going to be way worse. Stay and fight. Stay and fight. Stay and fight.
And it's going to be your nucleus of people.
You'll
That's what's
you'll
going
meet,
to
you'll meet
hold
some
it
of the
up.
best friends you're ever going to have the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're going to meet some people that you can be proud to call your brothers. and
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
know,
want some
and-
backup?
and if-
go join the militia.
And if you don't think that there's like-minded people, come to Cottonwood, come to Palo Cedro, come to the outer lying towns around Reading, and you're going to see the people that you want to be around. You're going to see people who are out there supporting each other, building strong communities, strong kids, strong children. I'll say it over and over again. We do this because of the kids.
Yep.
If this was just our life, man, we could be very cavalier about it, but we have to be very responsible in the way that we approach this thing because we have kids watching. We have kids who are going to follow in our footsteps, and kids are going to say, you know what? Our dads, our moms, they stood up and they fought, man. and I know how to stand up and fight now. And what better way to raise a generation than that? You know, I mean, and that's what you want to do. Raise fearless kids.
Exactly.
You know, don't teach your kids to be scared. Don't put that into. Don't program them that way. We're going to be so screwed if you guys continue to program your kids to be scared of every little thing. You know, our country
another
won't
thing.
survive.
Scott's kid early on with the whole mask.
I was
deal
very
and
proud
stuff.
of him. Yes.
Yeah, I was proud of him too.
He stood tall.
He
you know?
did,
So
yeah.
it shows you're doing a good job.
Yeah, it does. It makes
You
me
know,
feel good about myself.
And if your kid gets kicked out of school for standing up, buy him ice cream.
Yeah.
Please. You know,
Yeah.
seriously, praise him. You know,
Take him over to
yeah,
Lani.
foster that
Yep.
spirit, foster that spirit of courage,
Yep.
that boldness. You know, I mean, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, and be proud of yourself. Take yourself out to ice cream because you raised a good person. You know, and I can't say that enough. I mean, I could go on and on about that, but we've just become so weak. A Marine general, probably the most iconic general we've ever had in the Marine Corps, Chesty Puller, said, "If we stay as soft as we are now, a foreign soldiery will invade our country, take our women, and breed a hardier race." You know, well, it's not going to happen on my watch. It's not going to happen on your watch. So
Didn't happen on Chesty's
no,
watch.
absolutely not. You know, and if you think that's not going to happen, if you get soft, if you get weak, if you let those soft spots in your heart take over, you might as well lay down because there's going to be another person coming in and taking over your family, taking over your own livelihood. So,
And comfort's an illusion. They're coming for
Yeah.
it. They're
Yeah.
reaching further and further.
It's okay to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's okay to be uncomfortable.
and if you're the person that says, you know what, my life ain't that bad, I'm not
No.
affected. I mean, I have a good life. Well, I got these contracts with the county. I'm building things left and right. What do I have to complain about? You know, things are going great for me. Listen,
They're coming for you, too.
It's a facade,
Yep.
and it's a delusion. You know, any bit of normalcy that you're tasting right now is only a facade. You know, and I'm glad we all get a little bit of it, a little bit of normalcy, but it has to be fought for and realize that it's not going to be there forever unless you continue to fight.
This has
So-
all been happening through incrementalism. And,
yeah, so if
You know,
you're a
it's a
person that says, "Hey, my life ain't that bad, your life ain't that bad," listen, in this room, none of our lives are really bad. We live some pretty charmed lives.
Yeah.
But that is a facade if we don't continue to fight for it, because we have to fight for it, and we don't have an option. It goes away tomorrow, is what I'm saying.
It does.
You know, and
We've
just
been
because-
warned of that
Yeah.
over and over again. If you don't stand and hold the freedoms, even if it's not the one that is your
Sure.
line in the sand, it has to be if it's invading freedoms. It has to
Exactly.
be every time. Everyone's warned us of that in our history of our country.
Scott, you're going to have extra time on your hands, so we need more medical people in the militia. We can
Oh,
go
definitely.
training.
Definitely.
We definitely do, you know, and you have a place, you know, at this table. You know, if you're a person that loves this country, we don't have to agree on everything. In fact, we won't agree on everything.
That's the beauty of
You
this
know?
country, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a great thing about it, you
Yeah.
know. But if you love this country, you want to see this country be better, and if you love the Constitution, you have a seat at our table, you know. And we welcome you.
Yeah,
Get
thank
involved.
you.
Get uncomfortable, you know. And Scott, thank you, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Thanks for having me.
been
You know,
really, really good.
We'll get you again. You got some time.
Oh, I
so
got
we'll
some-
get
I got
you.
some
We
time.
want to. We
I
want to
got
hear
some
some
time.
updates as this thing goes on.
Definitely. I keep in contact with people, and I try and encourage my coworkers as much as possible. I mean, I know I get people that are down and they're frustrated and they don't know what to do. And, you know,
Join the militia.
I tell them, you know, there's options out there. There's always options, you know?
Yeah.
So
All
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Thanks for all that tuned in.
Fight.
And any questions and calls.
Guys, we're going to do this
Appreciate
more
it.
often. There's just so much information that's rolling in, and we're going to try to roll that out to you guys as we get it. So stay tuned for a lot more of these.
Sign the recall.
yeah, stay strong out there.
All right.
Fuck Modi.
Oh, we got a call. What's that call? Should we take it?